Welcome to my daily grow along. And today I'm collecting dahlia seeds. Now, there are a couple of reasons why you might want to do this. So first, you might simply want to increase your stock. You might want more beautiful plants next year, and you're not too worried about having the exact same varieties. Or secondly, you might want to start breeding dahlias, and that's where things get really, really interesting. So here's the thing about dahlias. Genetically, they are just wild. Most flowering plants are actually diploid, which means that they have two sets of chromosomes, one from each parent. But dahlias are octoploids. They have 8 sets of chromosomes, and that means that the genetics are really complex and you won't get a copy of the parent from the seed. If you want an identical plant, you would need to divide the tuber or take cuttings. Seed sown dahlias, they will be completely unique, and that's the beauty and also the chaos. Because dahlias are octoploids, their offspring can vary wildly from their parents in colour, petal type, form, literally everything. Some of the traits even hide for generations before reappearing again. When you grow from seed, you're basically creating something that's never ever been seen before. It's never existed. Now, if you're serious about your breeding, you'd usually cover your flower heads with mesh bags to stop the insects from being able to pollinate, and from cross-pollinating by hand, you can actually control the 2 varieties that breed. Now, I didn't do that this year because honestly, I've just been far too busy. So I've actually let the bees do the matchmaking for me this year. I know what the mother plant is for each seed, but I have no idea who the father is. And that's part of the fun. So if the frost hasn't wiped out your dahlias yet, then there is still time to take some seeds. Even if the frost has got to your dahlias, actually, that's not the end of the world, because actually they're still viable even if the frost has got to them. The seeds are viable where the plants aren't. So when it comes to harvesting, what you are looking for are plump seed pods. So they can be green or brown. That doesn't really matter as long as they've been on the plant long enough to mature, which is 4 to 6 weeks. And you'll often see the leaves or the coating around the pod starting to just brown, and that means that the seed pod is ready, but it can still contain some green. So if the pod still has its stamens on with visible pollen, then it hasn't been pollinated yet. That's why it's still trying. It's still got those stamens on. That won't have any viable seed, and I'll show you that in just a second when we've collected some seed. You can also gently just unwrap the pod slightly, stick your finger in and have a bit of a feel around. So let's have a little look in the field and I'll show you some viable pods, some which are plump, some which maybe aren't plump, a little bit squishy. They might have some seeds in them, they might not. We'll check. Okay, so here you can see we have one which it's quite wet still, but you can see this is really, really nice and plump. It's really firm. All of these outer little petals, these have all gone brown here. And then we've got another one here, look. Again, these have started to go brown, but it's not as brown as the first one. But because we've got some browning happening, this one will probably also have some mature seeds in it as well. So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for some browning to happen. And let's find something which is more green. Let's have a little look elsewhere. So something like this one, for instance. This is really green. This has probably been pollinated because it feels plump, but it's too green to pick. So this one would be no good. And okay, we can see this one here. This one has some browning on it as well, all around here, but it actually feels really squishy. This does not feel that plump, although it does down here. We can pick this off and see if there's anything inside it. Okay, and this one here, this one is a cafe au lait. and you can see there's some browning going on just around here. So this looks like it's probably been pollinated. It feels really plump. It feels really, really firm. So we've got some seed in here. The reason why I'm collecting my dahlia seeds now, and I'm in a little bit of a hurry, let's say, is because I actually want to cut down some of my dahlias because I actually want to start labeling them. But there actually is no hurry. If the frost comes and gets your plants, your dahlia seeds that are there are actually still viable. So it doesn't really matter. You can wait if you need to. Now, what I have done is I've taken a couple of these just to show you. So this has still got some pollen here at the top, and there's lots of bees buzzing around. Still got some pollen here at the top that you can see. So this hasn't yet actually been pollinated by the bees. It's still desperately trying to make some seed. Whereas this one, you can see, this one has been pollinated. We've got a little bit of browning going on around the outside. This one's been pollinated. This one's fine. This one isn't. And I've got another one here that I've just opened up for you so you can actually see there. Okay, so you can see here, there aren't actually any viable seeds. These ones here would have been the ones that were pollinated just here in the centre. And this is where you will find most of your seeds. But there's literally nothing in this at all, no viable seeds. These ones here would have been pollinated. Whereas if I open up one of these other ones for you, you'll be able to see. So we've got some viable seed just here in the middle. There's one there, look. And there's no yellow on the top. There's no pollen on the top. There's no stamens. So that one's been pollinated beautifully. Another thing you're looking for in your dahlia seeds is a nice plump seed like this. You can feel it's really hard, it's plump, it's got some shape to it. Versus something like this. And if you try to bend this won't bend. It's hard, it's not going to bend. Whereas this one, I can bend it in two. That's not a viable seed. That's no good. You want to chuck that one. So there's actually no rush to harvest plants unless your pods are actually starting to rot on the plants, and if it's getting too cold or wet, and they can be quite difficult to then collect the seeds. So what you can do is you can cut down the stems like this, and you can pop them into a vase like this, bring them indoors and dry them off inside. Now within this there are lots of different, these have been in here for about a week already. I've just changed the water actually, but there are lots of different stages in here. So some of them are actually brown and crusty like this. They've dried out beautifully, and that's amazing. It just makes it so much easier to actually collect the pods when they're dry and brown and crispy versus like this when they're green and still a little bit wet, still a little bit damp inside. You can see this one's actually still got water in it. It's not drying out very well. It's got perfectly viable seed in it. It's just difficult to collect. It's messy. So the thing to remember is a seed or a flower which hasn't actually been pollinated will not pollinate in the vase and become something viable. So the thing to remember is that a pod that hasn't been pollinated won't magically pollinate indoors in a vase like this. And a seed that is still immature and green, it won't ripen in the vase. All you're doing by bringing them inside is you're helping them to dry out and making the seeds easier to collect, essentially. So here's Princess Nadine, and you can see she has a nice open centre. It's really easy for the bees to get in there, and we can even take these petals off. It's so easy for the bees to actually get to a Princess Nadine. They can literally pollinate every single one of these. You usually get the ones in the middle. So it's just so easy for the bees to pollinate this. Versus something like this, which is a ball dahlia. It's a Natalie G. And we have to take off quite a lot of these central petals here, which is what you would do if you were breeding, to actually get to where the stamens are in the middle like this, so that this can actually be pollinated. There it is inside, but this is why, and you can see in there when I do that, you can see there is some pollen in there. So that is ripe. So what you will end up with is lots and lots of chaff like this, and lots of viable seed in here as well. And the viable seed you're looking for looks like this. So you do need to separate the chaff from the seed. Now, we do this on a bit more of an industrial scale with a machine, but if you only have a few plants at home, then essentially you just need to take the seeds out by hand. And I do actually do this for my hand pollinated varieties, where there's only maybe 3 or 4 seeds in the center of some of my pods. I would actually need to collect those by hand. It's quite labor intensive. And you can see the wind is actually blowing off a lot of this chaff as well, which is quite handy, isn't it? It's quite useful. I don't normally do this outside. So I've now got myself a nice little pile of seeds there, which I can pop into a seed envelope, label the envelope. So what I'm actually going to do with these is just make sure that they are completely dry. I'm actually going to just leave them in this container for probably another week or 2, just to make sure that they are nice and dry. And then when I'm confident that they are, I'll pop them in my little seed packet and I'll store them away. I'll probably pop them in the fridge to keep them nice and fresh before I sow them next March. So that's how I collect my dahlia seeds. It's part science, part surprise. And every seed you save is a chance to discover something brand new. Maybe you will be maybe it will be a florist's dream stem, or maybe it will be something wild and unexpected. But that's the joy of breeding dahlias. So if you want to learn more about dahlia genetics, dominant and recessive traits, which colours and forms tend to appear and be more dominant, I do have a full blog post about this, and I'll link to that below for you. That's it for today, and good luck in your dahlia breeding patch.